On YouTube, Northeast Ohio Sports Cards, here for PSA submission preview, though this one's a little different because it's all Marvel stuff. I know. All Marvel all the time now. No. But yeah, PSA submission preview for some Marvel cards. As you guys are well aware, I've been ripping a lot of Marvel product on the channel lately, and I have divvied up things into some piles, and I'm going to do a small express order to PSA. Now, I was hoping to include stuff from a box of 90 Marvel's Universe, but of course, the box I want here to get the most is floating through USPS somewhere and all their nonsense. And it has yet to arrive, even though it was supposed to be here yesterday, or by the time you're watching this, a few days ago. So I ripped the box of 91 Series 2. I also ripped the box of 92 Jim Lee. And I found at a local comic store a couple singles from 90 Marvel that I picked up. One I think is fairly gradable. One is not. And then I went through my binder from when I was a kid and actually found one card that might get a PSA 9. So we're going to kind of risk it, see what happens. So I have 3 piles of cards in front of me. One is going out at PSA Express, $75 a card. About a 1 month turnaround from door to door, give or take. The other 2 piles are not going yet. And I am not sure when they're going to go or what they're going to be looking like by the time they finalize, but I'll kind of walk you through what I'm thinking. So once again, express order through PSA is $75 per card, about a 1 month turnaround time. So this is not cheap. So I picked what I think has the highest possible return in regards to resale when it gets back to me. So let's look through this pile really quick, and that's the small one right here. There's 6 cards in this pile, and there are multiple duplicates. So we have a nice, get the autofocus cleaned up there, Venom from Series 2 91, and there are 2 of these. There is not a lot of PSA sales on these yet. Sorry, trying to fight the glare. And especially recent ones. So I have no clue what these will go for in a PSA 10. My best guess, 500-600, maybe. Don't know. No idea. PSA 9, I would hope to get my money back plus maybe a little bit of profit. So maybe around 100, 125. Don't know. Like I said, there's little to no sales data on these right now. So we will see what happens with these, but Venom is one of the most popular characters when it comes to Marvel. So I figured, why not? Next up, 2 Wolverines. Once again, one of the most popular characters. One of these recently sold. I think it was for around $400 or $500 in a PSA 10, but that was also about 2 weeks ago, when things were just starting to get crazy. But my expectation is in a PSA 10, these would also get around $500. Maybe. Once again, I have no idea. And I have no idea what the market's going to look like in a month. That's the risk you take with grading. And the risk that these don't get PSA 10s. Just because I think they're 10s doesn't mean they're actually 10s. So they very well could come back 9s. And once again, if they come back 9s, I would be hoping to basically not lose money on it and make a little bit of profit, just as not as much as I thought I was going to. So 2 Wolverines, also both out of 90 Series 1. I'm hoping at least 1 Venom and 1 Wolverine gets 10s, and then the other ones get a 9. I would be perfectly acceptable with that. I personally think they're 10s, otherwise I wouldn't be submitting them. But what the hell do I know? I'm just a guy sitting here talking into a microphone. So that's those. Punisher from 90 Series 1. This is the one I found in the binder from a kid. I don't think this is a 10. I think this is a PSA 9. I am submitting this because I think even in a PSA 9, Marvel 90 stuff is worth it. And this could still go for a few $100. And my issue with this card is one of the corners looks a little soft to me. So I'm also kind of sending it as like a test case, not to see if I can necessarily slip one past them, but to see how hard they'll hit me for on it. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this card came back anywhere from, I think it's a 9. I think this is most likely a PSA 9. Could it get a 10? Sure. Could it also get an 8? Maybe. I am not as comfortable grading or eyeballing paper cards as I am Chrome cards. And sometimes I feel I'm a little overcritical on stuff. So we'll see what happens. But Punisher's a pretty popular character. I'm not a big fan of him, but I get it. And I just didn't have a whole lot of other 90s stuff to send that I thought was decent. So I thought this would make the cut. The last one is the one I'm most interested in. It would be an absolutely huge hit if it came around. Is Wolverine card number 10, because there's about 16 different Wolverines in 90 Series 1. This I picked up at a local comic shop for 20 cents. It looked well centered there. That's all I cared about when I was flipping through their binder at 20 cents a card. When I put it on a centering tool at home, it looked really good. It lined up about perfect. And when I looked at it a lot closer, to me, corners, edges, everything looked really good on this. I think this has a legit shot at a PSA 10. I would be slightly disappointed in a 9, but, you know, I still think it would go for a pretty good chunk of change. This and a PSA 10 just sold for $1,300. So, yeah, this would be a huge card in a PSA 10. Even in a PSA 9, it would probably be around $400 or $500 easy. So, in theory, I need one of these, the PSA 10, to essentially pay for the submission. The submission is going to be $475 with shipping and everything. Probably close to $500 with shipping there and shipping back and insurance and everything. So I need one of those, the PSA 10, to pay for the submission. And then the rest would be profit, essentially, outside the cost of the actual box, which in this case, if I go with the cost from when I bought it, was like a $60 to $70 box. When I ripped it, they were about a $400 box. By the time I'm sending this in, they're about an $800 or $900 box. So it kind of depends on how you want to work the math on that. My cost out of pocket was $70 for the box, plus the grading fees. So let's call it $575. And that's just for the 4 series 2 cards. The cost was nothing because one was mine from my PC from when I was a kid, and one was a 20-cent investment. So it would just be the grading fees on those. So the entire submission, the cost basis would essentially be $575. Now then you get into the whole, well, but you could have just sold the box for $800. Sure. So if I wanted to go that route, it would be the $800 box cost, which is today's value, plus the grading fees, so $1,300. So I would need the Wolverine to hit a PSA 10. Now, I have other cards from here. This is just all I'm submitting right now. So it's not like this submission would need to make up the whole $800 cost on the box per se. Just depends on how you want to work the math on that. From a pure cash standpoint, it was a $70 box plus the grading fees. But like I said, you get in all that weird stuff depending on how you want to massage the numbers on the spreadsheet, if you will. Now, I have other things out of that box that are 100% gradable. I just don't know that I want to pay $75 a card to grade them. This pile here, I am not submitting yet, but I am thinking I will submit these at regular service, which is $50 a card and takes previously around 6 weeks, but they've been starting to lag on that a little bit. And once again, reports vary. There's no real rhyme or reason to PSA turnaround times other than forever, unless you pay through the nose. So in this pile, I have Scarlet Witch, 2 Spider-Man web shooters. These recently sold in PSA 10 for around $500. No sales on this in a PSA 10. Spider-Man versus Venom, I would include this in this pile, but I'm not sure that this tens. Um, I'm questioning centering on this card a little bit, top to bottom, and maybe one of the corners, but I think it can 9. If I thought this had a legit 10 shot, it would be in this pile going with this submission. And then this is another one from my personal collection as a kid that I dug up. Once again, anything Venom is usually pretty good. I'm not sure this has a shot at a 10. The front looks good. Corners look good. Centering, you really can't tell on these things. And the back is tricky because of the edges. Anytime you have a dark edge like this, makes it extremely tough. Because any little white speck shows through, and there are a couple showing through. So I'm not sure that this can get a 10 based off that. But even in a PSA 9, I think you would get your money back plus some on it. The last pile that I have are things that I want to grade, but I don't know that I want to pay $50 a card for them. We're going to call this the group submitter stack. I am thinking these I may send through a group submitter. Typically, which I've only done one with them so far, and I haven't gotten the cards back yet, but that's not their fault. I have been using Card Collector 2 out of the YouTube fame / Columbus, Ohio through his shop. I'm not sure if I'll do this one with him or not. I probably will, most likely, since I'll be heading down there to pick up a sub soon. And I think when I pick that one up, I will drop these off. So in this pile, I have a Magneto from 92 X-Men. Neither one of my Deadpools passed the mustard, unfortunately. And the other Magneto also did not pass. I will tell you right now, X-Men 92 was absolutely brutal on centering. I had a ton of cards that had centering issues. So, but this one's going. 2 Lokis from Series 2. A Doc Ock from Series 2. Doctor Doom from Series 2. Fantastic Four team card. And a Mr. Fantastic. So through a group submitter, these will be looking at, I think the current rates are about $25 to $28 a card in about a 4-month turnaround time, give or take. So I would probably submit those through him at those price points, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Part of my hesitancy is assuming this 90 Marvel Universe box shows up, I'm going to rip that. Unless box prices go absolutely insane. I'm going to rip that, and then those would take priority, and this stuff would slide down the ladder a little bit, because I don't want too many PSA submission hanging over my head, because those get expensive fast. So that's what I'm looking at. That's kind of my thought process. Once again, the reason for these going express is I want them back in hand as fast as possible, just in case, prices start to fall. I'll have them back and ready to go. We'll see. Nobody knows. Anyone that says they do is guessing. I like to say that all the time. But yeah, I would prefer to get at least those back as fast as humanly possible, since those are what I would consider, out of the cards I have to submit, the best of the best in regards to character and condition outside of the Punisher. Once again, the Punisher's going because I think it can 9, and a 9 in 90 MU still pulls a pretty good penny. So we will send these off. We will see them in hopefully 4 to 6 weeks, and then see what the market looks like for them by the time they get back to us. That's always the risk with grading. It is gambling to a degree. A lot of times you send stuff out and prices go up by the time you get it back, and it works out fantastically. And then sometimes prices go down. The nice thing about grading these versus sports cards are Wolverine can't get hurt, regardless of healing factor. Wolverine can't have a bad couple weeks and his team falls out of playoff contention. Wolverine can't get pulled over with a drug charge or a weapons charge. So the risk here is just the market shifts in general, which there's going to be a price pullback on this stuff at some point. But I think even at the leveled out prices, this will still be a profitable submission unless I just completely whiffed on how many of these I think can get a 10. So There's 6 cards in there. I would be very happy with 3 to 4 10s and 2 to 3 9s. But we will see what happens. That's all I got for you guys today. We will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.